El Nino is coming. El Nino is coming. How many times have you heard that ominous warning lately? You can't escape all the hype. Television and radio newscasts in LA are fighting to be your official El Nino station. They're on storm watch. They're counting down to El Nino. They're going all out. But are they perhaps going too far? Tonight, Eyewitness News investigates the fear of El Nino.
For the absolute best weather coverage, turn to ABC 7's weather team, tracking El Nino's every move.
El Nino could be just around the corner, and scientists predict that it could bring the storm season of the century to Southern California.
Your station for official news and information on El Nino and its impact on the Southland.
For months, we in the media have been blistering you with reports and promos about El Nino and warnings of what this weather condition could mean to the Southland. We look at that growing mass of warm water off the Pacific coast and think back to those devastating storms of 1992 and even worse, 1982 and 83. We wonder what's ahead.
All of the meteorological conditions point to very, very heavy rain in Southern California this winter. It is not unrealistic to expect 30 inches of rain between January, February, and March.
And often our reactions range from fright to downright indifference.
El Nino is like, they blame mostly everything on it, so I don't think it's like that big of a deal.
It's nature. You can't control that.
Until I went to South America, I didn't realize that it was bothering anybody.
Yeah, it's really scary because it's affecting everywhere, even Japan.
Sometimes if you're young and impressionable, all that El Nino talk on TV can make you come unglued. Take 10-year-old Ryan Stickney.
I'm kind of scared.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you scared of?
Well, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm scared of, flooding or hurricanes.
Ryan's mom was at a school camp with Ryan and other kids when somebody brought up El Nino.
It was kind of a little bit of mass hysteria, and they all got each other kind of going about that, and I tried to explain to them that really it was El Nino is not a big hurricane. It's just a weather pattern.
Mental health experts say there's a way to cope with your fears of El Nino, and it's not self-denial.
I think people are really not preparing. I mean, they still haven't prepared fully for earthquakes, and we know those can potentially come.
Dr. Scott is the mental health advisor to the Red Cross here in LA. He thinks the media coverage is positive. His motto, be prepared.
I think we need good information and we need education. And I think when we have those factors, it really helps to destroy fear. It reduces fear, especially if the information and the education about what to do about El Nino leads to preparedness.
That's how Nancy Rigg feels. 17 years ago, she lost her fiancé, Earl Higgins, when he fell into the LA River trying to save a boy.
He was swept 30 miles downstream through 11 different firefighting jurisdictions past rescuers who had neither the equipment nor the training to do anything particularly useful, and his body was not recovered until 9 months later.
Los Angeles was woefully unprepared for water rescues back then, and when 15-year-old Adam Bishkov died in that river 12 years later, Nancy found her calling as an advocate for flood preparedness and swift water rescue teams. It worked, and LA County teams are among the nation's best.
I had to turn the tragedy of Earl's death into something positive. And that positive gift was education, awareness, preparedness, rescue.
So, LA, when you watch these scenes from disasters of the past, the message is clear. Play it safe. Be ready.
Be ready, and then if it doesn't happen, go, thank you.
If El Nino turns out to be El Duddo, all the better. But as the media continues their promotional wars, keep in mind odds are that it will happen, and they stand ready to bring you invaluable information.
But taking action is the most important aspect then.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Harold. Still ahead here at 5 o'clock, the latest on the medical problems keeping Shaquille O'Neal out of the lineup.
And Scottie Pippen of the world champion Bulls shocks his teammates with a demand to be traded. Sports is next.
Finally from us this evening, El Nino, the perception and the reality. In California today, there is something all too real about these sea lions which are starving because the warm waters created by El Nino have driven their favorite food away. So without squid and herring and sardines, thousands of young pups are more vulnerable to starvation this year, and that is the reality. As for the perception, we all know that El Nino this and El Nino that have become a staple of conversation, not to mention news coverage this year. Some people hang on every word. Some people roll their eyes. ABC's Judy Muller reports in California.
El Nino has stormy skies, and everyone's terrified.
The last time El Nino came to town, it was nowhere near the celebrity it is today, complete with its own song on the radio.
Who's making all the weathermen crazy? Everyone knows El Nino.
Never has an El Nino been observed so carefully, so thoroughly, and so early.
Or hyped so shamelessly. El Nino's worst storms aren't expected here until January. But oh, the advanced publicity.
Tracking El Nino's every move so you'll know where and when severe weather will strike.
I mean, it's a perfect news story. It's like the OJ of weather because you know where to put the camera. You know it'll be there for a while.
Pending disaster can also be profitable, from roofing companies to ski resorts. Even the Red Cross was asking for victim relief before a single person had been victimized. Of course, disaster is nothing new to Californians, and neither is post-traumatic stress. But El Nino qualifies as pre-traumatic stress. One disaster psychologist has some advice.
Well, do a little bit of preparing, be aware, and then get on with your life, Get a surfboard and go enjoy the waves.
El Nino may cause stress, but it also serves as a scapegoat.
If I didn't get the part, the show didn't get picked up, the souffle didn't rise, well, it's El Nino's fault. It's now the all-purpose Southern California excuse.
Southern California got its first taste of El Nino this past weekend, when a storm that would normally have hit the northwest was pushed south. The rain was heavy, but hardly catastrophic. That didn't stop the hype. It was enough to embarrass even reporters.
No, I don't want to give everybody the wrong impression. This is not the way it is throughout all of Santa Barbara. This is one area, one intersection, and one street.
Of course, the next storms may be much, much worse. So whatever you do, says one survivor, don't show your fear.
Even if I were scared, I wouldn't want El Nino to know that I was, in case he's watching ABC.
Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
That is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening on Nightline, cyber terrorists stealing government secrets and putting down the phone lines. Tomorrow on Good Morning America, why the campaign finance issue won't go away. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. Good night.